Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is a very special episode. It's the first Durbin Experiences episode, and we're going to experience the Magnificent Seven here at this awesome shooting range from the San Luis Obispo Sportsman Association and Chorro Valley Regulators. And we're here with my good friend, John Mars, and we're going to shoot some Old West guns.
Yes, we are.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm retired from the sheriff's office. I own my own company called Spartan Training Resources. I do firearms training, but I'm also involved in cowboy action shooting, a sport using Old West style guns like you see in the movie.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up some of these guns. We're going to learn about them, figure out which parts in the movie they were in, and then we're going to do some shooting. So tell us a little bit about the Sports Association and things like that, like what you guys do here on this awesome range.
Okay, so this club, the Chorro Valley Regulators, was started in 1994 here at the San Luis Obispo Sportsman's Association. This facility that we have here, several shooting bays. Every month there's a cowboy action shooting match out here. You can go to the website and check the dates. They love to have spectators come out and see how the sport is played. It's a shooting competition using Old West revolvers, lever action rifles, and either double barrel or pump shotguns. That's a lot of fun. And you get to dress up like this, play old cowboy for the day.
Yeah, I really do like the cowboy outfit. It is awesome. Look at those guns in the holster. Oh my goodness. Ah, all right. Well, let's get into some of this and learn some of these guns here. So
okay, so the first gun we're going to talk about now in the film, this is a Colt 1871 conversion. In the trailer, you see a scene where a guy's pointing a gun at Chris Pratt, and Chris Pratt pulls out a playing card and then draws his pistol and shoots him. The bad guy is using one of these.
Okay.
This was designed in 1871. It's an improvement over the cap and ball revolver, the 1851 Navy and the 1860 Army that were used during the Civil War. About halfway through the Civil War, cartridges, metallic cartridges, became popular. So some guys at Colt named Mason and Richards did some work to convert the cap and ball revolvers into cartridge firing revolvers. This one is the 1871 Mason Richards conversion. They added an ejector rod and a loading gate and a cylinder that will accept metallic cartridges. This was actually marketed to the United States Army, but they did not like it because they didn't feel it was strong enough. It was referred to as an open top because you see there's no frame top over the top of the cylinder. Ready?
Ready.
Go ahead. So line up the sights. Nice.
The power.
And again. Line it up.
Wow, that recoils like crazy. And it's so scary. It's such a light touch and then the power.
I think he's having some fun.
Woo!
Good. And then cock it with this thumb.
Smells like fireworks.
It smells good, huh?
Oh, I saw all the dirt move that time.
So they did some rework on it, and eventually they came out with the next gun we're going to get into, which is the single action Army revolver, model 1873. This is the gun that John Wayne used. Everybody carried one of these. Wyatt Earp carried one of these.
That's so awesome.
Doc Holliday carried one of these. General George Patton carried one of these in World War II. Teddy Roosevelt carried one of these up San Juan Hill. This was a very popular gun in the Old West. And it was a direct descendant of this gun, just came out a few years later. As far as the movie goes, pretty much everybody carries one of these. Denzel Washington has two of them, which are nickel-plated with a 4 3/4 inch barrel, which was known as the gunfighter version or the civilian version. This one with the 5.5 inch barrel was referred to as the artillery model. It was a refurbished version that came out pretty much when the Army was getting rid of the single action Army. They had switched to a 38 caliber revolver. A bunch of these, which were originally 7.5 inch barrels, were sent back to Colt for refurbishing. It became known as the artillery model because the artillery units were the first ones to get reissued this altered revolver. They had switched from the 45 caliber revolver to a 38 caliber double action revolver, but then in the Philippines, the 38 did not have the stopping power the 45 did, so they reissued this pistol.
Oh, wow.
So it went out of service, then it came back into service through the Philippines, Spanish-American War. It was eventually replaced. So these are a couple of the guns we're going to shoot today. Like I say, pretty much all the good guys are carrying one of these, single action Army revolver, and various barrel lengths, various finishes. This one, you'll notice the discoloration of the frame. That's called color case hardening. The color is achieved when the gun is heated through the building process.
Okay.
The barrel is blued, the cylinder is blued, it has wood grips. You'll see this in a bunch of different configurations throughout the movie.
Okay, so
We're
that
going to put one in.
One in.
And then skip the next one. And then put in 4 more. There you go.
That is a lot more recoil.
Yeah. Gotta have your man pants on when you're shooting over here.
Oh, man.
So align your sights, aim at the steel right there in front of us, those 4 big plates.
Oh, okay.
Shoot at one of those.
Okay, a little high.
Cock it again, a little bit high. There you go.
So now that we know how unrealistic fanning is because of that recoil, show us what you do to actually do some fanning.
So this is a real cartridge. This is what we were just shooting. It's pretty significant recoil. In the movies, they use a blank cartridge. So this is just a powder charge with no bullet.
Okay.
So it does not create recoil. It just creates a loud noise. Okay, so fanning, this is what you need to do fanning with the gun, is blank cartridges.
That's so awesome.
Trigger down, hold it down, bring your hand right back to your wrist.
Yeah! Yeah!
All right, I'm gonna try to fan. So, finger
Bring
on
the
the
gun
trigger.
down so you have good leverage of it.
Okay.
There you go. Nice.
What do we got here with this one?
Okay, so the next gun that we're going to talk about, this is the model 1873 Winchester rifle. In the film, you'll see Denzel and Ethan Hawke both shooting these, and probably some other people. It was a very popular rifle at the time. You'll see a very similar rifle with a brass frame. That's a model 1866.
Wow.
Not the same rifle. This is the next iteration of that rifle. These were all designed after something called the Volcanic Repeater, which came out mid-1800s. It was owned by a couple of guys named Smith & Wesson. They had an investor who was named Winchester. They decided to focus on revolvers, so they sold the patent to Winchester. He brought in a guy named Henry who perfected the design. The 1860 Henry rifle, which you'll probably see some of those in the movie, that came out. Then the Yellow Boy, or the 1866, which is the brass frame version. And then in 1873, this one came out with the steel frame. The steel frame being able to handle much heavier calibers. The brass is not as strong. Steel is much stronger. These were originally in 44-40 caliber, was the most popular caliber. So much so that Colt started making the single action armies in 44 caliber to go along with the rifle. So that logistically you could carry one type of cartridge would fit both your rifle and your pistol. So this originally came out in a couple of different versions. There was a carbine version with a short barrel. This is the rifle version with the longer barrel. And then there was one called a musket where the forend, the wood, went all the way out to the end of the muzzle. So those were a couple of variations of it. This one is a replica of the 73 Winchester. It's chambered in 45 Colt because that matches the pistols that I shoot. It was not originally offered in that caliber. It's one of the newer iterations for cowboy action shooting. This one holds 10 rounds. This bottom tube here is the magazine. You load it through a loading gate here, one round at a time. The rounds stack up end to end inside the magazine. And then to load the gun, you operate the lever. You load the gun, fire it, operate the lever again to load and fire it again.
Whoa, I shot something! Oh!
Nice. Well done.
Best round yet.
There you go.
I haven't. Oh, there we go. I just,
So if it's not firing, just pinch the
Just
lever
pinch
so
it and
that it's
then
all the
shoot?
way through. There you go.
oh, I got the bullet stuck.
It's
at the
working
top.
hard. Work the lever hard. There you go. Nice. Okay, so this is the double barrel 12 gauge shotgun. A side by side is what they're called because the barrels are side by side.
Awesome.
As opposed to an over under. In the film, you'll see a bunch of the bad guys with shotguns, and there was a scene in the trailer where Chris Pratt is shooting stuff with a shotgun that blows up. This one is a little bit different than the ones in the film. The ones in the film have external hammers. The hammer is the part that actually falls and fires.
Okay.
So you'll see the hammers protruding out. This is a Remington model 1900. This one was made in 1902 or 1903. So it's very similar to the ones used in the film, except it has internal hammers rather than external hammers. But when you're shooting it, you really won't notice any difference. It has the same 12 gauge recoil. It has a lever to open the gun. Once it's open, you insert 2 shells in there. You close the gun. You remove the safety, and then it has 1 trigger for each barrel. So you can shoot both barrels at once if you want to.
I never thought of it having 2 triggers for whatever reason.
Well, a lot of the newer ones will have 1 trigger, and it'll alternate. It'll shoot 1 barrel, then the other. The older ones had 2 triggers. You can actually shoot both barrels at once if you want to.
Oh, cool. So I could do that like today. I could shoot both barrels if I wanted to.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
There you go. And make a funny noise. That's always good.
Yep. Well, you must, you
It
know?
scares the hell out of the bad guy. When you go, woo! Close it all the way. No, it's good. Come on, close. There you go. Now take the safety off by pushing that lever up. Now it's ready to fire. So get it
So
in
same
tight to the
thing.
pocket of your shoulder. Make sure your face is pressed down on it.
Oh, the recoil! I shot it!
One more.
Okay.
Go to the other trigger.
Oh, the other. Oh, okay.
There's the trigger for
The
each
back
barrel.
one?
Yeah. Well done. So then push the lever again to the right and open it up. Here. You push and you kind of give it a little, and then the shells come out. And we're going to do it again.
That's how you do it.
Now go to the other trigger and do it again.
Woo!
Nice. Did you get a little splatter?
Yeah, it
Oh, okay,
stung
and
me.
then do I
Then push it to the left.
this?
Yeah.
And
Let it
then-
open up.
I don't understand how to open it.
Well, you're doing it right. It's a little bit stiff.
Oh, okay.
Well, this has been our day at the shooting range, experiencing the guns from the Magnificent 7. Just as a reminder, we're here on a range, got this rented out. This guy here is a licensed shooting instructor. So seriously, don't go playing with this stuff at home. I feel like my arm has been punched. So that.
Wait till tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, coming up here, some cool stuff. We're going to do a Magnificent 7 spoiler-free review, and John and I are actually going to do the spoiler talk for the Magnificent 7. So you definitely want to hit that subscribe button, be on top of the new videos coming out here on Durbania. Don't miss John Mars joining me again in the studio. Thank you again to the San Luis Obispo Sportsman Association and the Chorro Valley Regulators. This has been awesome to get out here and check out the range. We'll have links to their website and stuff like that right here in the description, so you can check all of that out. I'm Durbin.
I'm John Mars.
Thank you so much for checking out Durbania. And thank you.